Okay, so this sort of rather large looking search question here, okay, don't sort of stress over it, just simplify each term in turn, okay, right, focus, for instance here we focus on this to begin with, and then once we do that one and that one we can bring it all together at the end, so it becomes straightforward. Now the idea here is you've got to show your workings, right, it clearly says that at the start of the paper, okay. And sometimes as well they set it up so that the calculator won't be able to work it out, okay, for you in the way you want it. For instance, if I put root 2 in here to the power 5, okay, it won't simplify for me, it'll just put it as a decimal, okay, so it won't give simplified third form. So you need to sort of show your working and it'll come out straightforward, won't it? Because root 2 to the power 5, if you think about it, is just root 2 times root 2 times root 2, so we're going to have 5 of them, okay. With these 5 then, remember we pair them, don't we? So if we pair them there, each pair them, well, it just becomes the number itself, doesn't it? Because if you think about it, root 2 times root 2 is root 4, yeah, because they go under one square root, so 2 times 2 is 4, so it'll be square root of 4, which is just 2, okay, but better just to remember, pair them, and it just becomes the number itself. We can pair these as well. So root 2 times root 2 is 2. And then of course at the end then we've got a single one. Okay, so that will just be left on its own. So 2 times root 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4, root 2. Okay, so it's really quick to do that, isn't it? Second part, 8 over root 2. Okay, now when you've got a root on the bottom, you need to rationalize that denominator, okay, and it's simple to do. All you have to do is times the top and bottom by root 2. Okay, you're allowed to do that because if you think about it, I'm just timesing by 1, aren't I? Timesing by 1 because root 2 over root 2 is 1. So if I times the top by root 2, I get 8 times root 2, which is 8 root 2. Times the bottoms then together, root 2 times root 2, of course, we've got a pair, so that just becomes 2. And then you should be able to simplify that fraction then. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so 4 root 2. The third one then, okay, so again we need to rationalize here the denominator, okay. So we've got 3 minus root 2. So if you remember to rationalize this then, okay, we've got to write what's on the bottom but change the sign. Okay, so it'll be timesing it by 3 plus root 2. So it's always the same as that bottom term, bottom bracket there, but with the sign being opposite. The sign that's in the middle to the opposite. So we get, if I expand the top there, okay, of course we're going to have FOIL here on the top. Yeah, so first 4 times 3 is 12. Last 4 times root 2 is 4 root 2. Inners, root 2 times 3 is 3 root 2. And then last then, well, we've got root 2 times root 2, which is 2. Okay. On the bottom then, well, what's good about this is that the inners and outers will cancel out. So when I do the first, 3 times 3 is 9. So remember now the outers and inners will cancel because the outers will be 3 times root 2, positive 3 root 2. The inners will be minus root 2 times 3, which is minus 3 root 2. So they'll cancel. And then the last then, minus root 2 times root 2. Well, root 2 times root 2 is 2. Minus times a plus is minus 2. Okay? So we get on the top, well, 12 plus 2 is 14. And then 4 plus 3 is 7. So 7 root 2. On the bottom then, well, 9 take away 2 is 7. And I hope you could see then that there's actually a common factor of 7 at the top. Okay, because you see, well, I could even factorize it. 7 times 2 and 7 times then root 2 would give me this. So take out a 7 and you've got the top there factorized. 7 is a common factor. And you've got 7 on the bottom, so they will cancel. 7 divided by 7 is 1. So you end up having 2 plus root 2. So overall then, okay, we've got to put them together, haven't we? Okay, so quite simply, the first result was 4 root 2. They're asking us to add it to the second result, which is also 4 root 2. And then the third result then was 2 plus root 2. Okay, so overall I've got, well, I've just got the 2 there, okay, And then the roots then, 4 root 2 plus 4 root 2 plus root 2 is 9 root 2. Okay, so my A is equal to 2, and my B is equal to 9.